I'm not going to round up. I'm not going to. I'm going to get incredibly specific. So, the first 63,000 tweets I dropped, I set an intention for $0, $0. First 63,000 tweets you can do for $0 with zero contacts. I saw it not as an ephemeral social app. I saw it as a way to document a journal. And I didn't want the journal to intimidate people to not be able to do well. First 60,000 tweets. Middle 60,000 tweets are OMFG Silicon Valley insider inside way inside baseball. Next 60,000 tweets are things that you cannot do without my help. So if you're just following for the new stuff, the best stuff is the old stuff. This tweet is the new stuff. It is this. 2.5 3-ways. One night. 2.5. Most people would just say 3 3-ways, right? That would be overstating it because I want to get incredibly specific because I revert back to getting onto first base. Sexual pun, okay? Intended. Because this is the specifics. Normally, I allocate $0. $0. Do you see how I am, the way I do the small things? Rolling hot, the JJ, is how I do the big things. Finding unicorn, funding a business, traveling to Las Vegas. $0. Last night I decided, not accidentally, but I decided to do the thing that I never do, which is buy a girl one drink. I haven't bought a female a drink in close to 2 years. I had that physiological reaction because I don't like when I throw money around. This is what happens when I allocated $12. Maybe it was $16. I don't even know. 20? One drink. It started an avalanche of vagina that was just thrown, okay? Thrown like I'm in Miami with my shirt unbuttoned, ready to party. Open to new experiences and ideas and new people. Getting into the specifics, which I never should have started the ball rolling down that hill because it's EUTWM PPM with a big dash of HTMM WYMM. Because after I bought that first drink, drinks were getting transferred from females to this vagina whispering, vagina holding, person with complex pronouns. It's like using French fries to prime the pump. And specifically, the magic happened at 8:39 p.m. It turned. Right now, Proper Hotel is a magical place in the same way that it was like, and I'm going to keep them Austin specific because I don't want to throw in a St. Regis Park City reference. I don't want to throw in a Rosewood, Larry Chang, Cougar Night, reverse VC pitch. I don't want to throw in a MIT Cambridge Liberty Hotel bar. Let's keep it Austin specific, like the Four Seasons Waterloo Room, like the Driscoll Hotel 2009. I was like a baby then, and it was baby entrepreneurship where magical things happen at Proper now. The evening started to turn in a positive light, sunlight pun intended, where evening turned in a positive light because of the prior preparation. And let's say you think that three-ways are gross, which I actually do. Like, two more hands than two hands isn't double the number of hands. It's exponentially more. It's like when sales double, receivables triple. It's like that concept. You know how when sales double, what happens to receivables? Oh yeah, they double. They don't. They triple. So what happens when sales quadruple? Receivables octuple. Nantuple. You can still use these methods of networking by Susan Wren, How to Work a Room, by Mark McCormick, how to make money while you make money at a conference using an external API. Guacamole recipe number 4, guacamole recipe number 11. External API sits over top all of them from the book of Mark McCormack. So let's say three-ways are not your thing because you're a Christian. You can, and you don't have the discipline, the trigger discipline, the dick discipline, the sausage discipline of being in a room, in a bed, naked with two women, 2.5 times, three-ways. If you don't have that discipline, maybe you shouldn't be in that scenario, youth pastor, which then goes to prep, PQRST, prep. I prepared to have a magical night with, as a James Bond, Lecture 1, CS123B, by bringing 2 books. Eric Rees, pre-book, before Lean Startup, is Startup Lessons Learned. I know. It's like a vintage book that's unavailable. If you guys want to buy it, it's $800. Or you can just leave a $500 deposit and I'll lend you my book. Or maybe you could just read the blog posts. You guys read, right? And Stephen Blank's book. Oh, Stephen Blank's book right here. Stephen Blank's book right there. Where let's just say that you've never cold opened somebody. Let's imagine that you've never done one cold call. Remember the first 7 lectures of CS 183D at the school that will not install that lecture because there's a gaping hole for doing distribution and sales work as an engineer, aka tech sales. Remember, the first 7 lectures of a speculative class on distribution, CS 183D, don't require you to talk to anybody. So you're practicing sales without even having to talk to anybody. Lecture 1, list something on eBay. Lecture 7P for proper hotel is you lay out 4 books on a table, and the book that people point to is the book that the conversation starts at. I'm just going to be transparent and honest because tonight I'm rolling 4 books. Tonight I'm rolling 4 books. Tonight I'm rolling 4 books, and they are in a particular order. They are in a particular order. Breaking the habit of being yourself. Breaking the habit of being yourself. That's book 1. Book 2 is Your Mental Mess. Book 3 is You Are the Placebo. Book 4, which I surprisingly love, even though I hate the title, is Becoming Supernatural. You lay the 4 books out, and this is now lecture 7D, because 7 regular was some basic, like having 2 stacks of pizzas, and a sign that says $5 a slice, and then people come to you. This is more advanced, which is why it's 7P for proper, is 4 books. And P does not stand for pussy, which is actually what I was there for, is using entrepreneurship books to meet dudes who then up my value in the room for how to work a room. And then when women see that I'm talking to all the important dudes, then at 11 o'clock it's go time with one, not 2.5 3-ways. So I deviated course from my normal protocol, but that's okay because now you get this. Next time at Proper Hotel, I'm doing the 4 books that I just showed you. 3 Joe Dispenza books and a Your Mental Mess book written specifically for women, that women will gravitate towards. Lecture 7P removes the burden of cold opening by putting yourself in a position to be cold opened upon. Let me repeat that because it's incredibly specific. Lecture 7 is where you get people to sell you. And this is the most pivotal point of tech sales, is when do you, the Stanford engineer, stop selling, and when do you begin to get sold? Ditto being a VC whisperer, which is when do you stop selling the VC and when do you start getting sold? We could go one of 5 directions, all headed towards the same destination. We could talk about VC. We can talk about entrepreneurship money. We can talk about putty. We can talk about being the vagina whisperer. We can talk about being a female founder who's about to be a unicorn, because this stuff is so basic. It is so basic. It is so straightforward, simple, that that's why I am treated with a 10-foot pole while I'm in my barely 30s with oh my god, he is something else. Larry Chang is on another planet. Why would you hurl these, not even innuendos, hurl these not even insults? One reason: cognitive miser. Dispute something that I'm saying in a path from 0 to 100 million. Dispute something. 1 billion's tough, because how many millions are in a billion? Getting 100 sticks, doable, actually. Getting 1,000 millions to get a billion, that's going to take a little bit of luck and bounces to go your way. No, I'm not talking about Bitcoin right now. That was that was a rocket ship that I told everybody about. I even gave away food to try to get people to like buy Bitcoin. That's actually lecture 8. Oh my god. Here I am thinking I got distracted. I'm right back in. Because remember, I got into the 2.5 3-way situation because I was doing lecture 8 accidentally, called Food for Lead Gen. That's what I did for Bitcoin with cream. Cookies rule everything around me. Cookies rule everything around me. That's a restaurant. They make ice cream cookie sandwiches. So if you're going to buy 600 Bitcoin, I will give you an ice cream sandwich as the VP of sales for Bitcoin. External API. Sell something that somebody else did. Last time I checked, Satoshi Nakamoto is not going to lay down a lawsuit saying, hey, stop selling Bitcoin. That's lecture 8. That's last night at Proper, where I am giving away a drink. Would you like to have a conversation with the most interesting man in Silicon Valley? Yes, I would. Let's throw some vagina your way then. Food for Lead Gen is where you're giving away something for under $5, ideally $1 or $2, and trying to make $20 to $5,000. Let me repeat that business model for lecture 8, because you're going to need to start generating sales and leads. Lead gen. In this Bitcoin example where you're giving away Bitcoin, you're not giving away Bitcoin. You're giving away an ice cream sandwich so that way people buy Bitcoin. What is this? Maybe that's too Web 5 for you. Maybe that's too web and internet savvy for you. Because let's say you don't believe in Bitcoin. Never mind that. The important lesson for lecture 8 is to practice and sell somebody else's thing. You could sell Uber, and you can sell drivers, or you can sell users. That's LABCS 3366. Live action business case study 3366. You can promote somebody else's app. You can promote Rabbit R1. You can sell somebody else's book, so long as you are incredibly cognitive of the legal ramifications, which is why people They don't mess it up all the time. They get frozen in analysis. Let's go over something incredibly specific that you can do, which is sell Joe Dispenza's book for $22. You sell Joe Dispenza's book for $22. You sell Joe Dispenza's book for $22. You sell his book for $22. And if they read two chapters, you refund their money. We're going to get incredibly specific with the first thing that you sell. We're going to get so specific that you're going to be asking yourself, do I really want to get to $600,000? Immediately? Do I need to understand all the steps before I take step number one? If you think you'd need to understand all the things before you do anything, just click away from this video as I return back from like a pee break. Hydration critical. So you take the book Huna. I did it for $18. Pick one. Pick one. Matt James' book, Joe Dispenza's book. Pick one. Lecture 8. You're welcome. Buy 5 books. In fact, I'll even buy the 5 books for you. Buy 5 books. Sell for 22 or 18. If the person reads 2 chapters, you give them all $11 back twice. This gets you over the hump of $0. So if you're doing this with your product, let's call it Duck 9. You sell a product for $600 and you give people back all $600 if they say 2 positive things. Oh, that's genius, Larry. Who taught you that? Right out of the book of Mark McCormack, chapter 6. And for the people that called my book a fraud, you can't ascertain the difference between 6 books. Not fraudulent. Quite specific. And I baited you into calling me a fraud. What 6 things are you mixing up? What they don't teach you at Stanford Business School. What they will never teach you at Stanford Business School. What they still don't teach you at Stanford Business School. Those 3. Another 3. What they don't teach you at Harvard Business School. It's hard to do fingers. It's hard to do fingers while talking. This finger is what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School. This finger is what they still don't teach you at Harvard Business School. This one. This one is what they will never teach you at Harvard Business School. Now, watch how these things connect. That's how they connect. So, what they don't teach you at Stanford Business School, what they will never teach you at Stanford Business School connects to here. People messed it up because I knew that people were not detail-minded. Because when you're from the New York Times and you call what they don't teach you at Stanford Business School a New York Times bestseller, it's a New York Times bestseller. The algorithm is clear, where if the New York Times calls it a bestseller, it is that. Did they make a mistake calling it Stanford Harvard? Yes. This is why Peter Thiel, he called it on the Harvard side, he went to Stanford. He called Stanford Law Review, which didn't exist before he created it. He changed one word, Harvard to Stanford. So this is the connection. This is the connection. This is the connection. This is the connection. Oh. This is actually good for baseball drills, because if I just put a baseball here to like muddy up the water even more, like, do you see how that connects? So like these two are connected and then these two swap. This is why three-ways, okay, get confusing in a hurry. Not my first three-way. Selling your first thing with my help in doing, let's say 5 books is a lot. I'll fund you for 3 books of 1 book that you sell for, let's use the Huna book, $18. You sell the book for $18, and then you tell me the 6 different times that they read the chapter, and they can even lie about it, and that's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but just 3 sentences in a video on chapter 1, and then as soon as they did chapter 1, give them $9 back, and then have them read another 7 pages for chapter 2. It's about treasure, Huna, path, stepping towards a new destiny. And do you see how I accidentally DJ'd the 2 books together to form a sequel on chapters 9 through 14 of another Joe Dispenza book? Because Huna is steps in taking steps towards a destiny. I want to say page 37, where Matt James doesn't outline, he talks about throwing your emotional baggage into a volcano. I know there's a lot of Hawaiian references, so if you're allergic to Hawaii because you're poor, you're welcome. Get over your allergy. Get over your phobia. Get it? Day 4 NLP Huna. Huna, by definition, is hula, okay? Hula energy with a path. But did Matt James finish in walking you towards these steps, closer and closer and closer, in stepping towards a new destiny? Who finishes that for chapter 15? I did. It's like talking to women who bring up their problems. I'm going to solve your problem. I'm going to listen and solve your problem. Now I don't solve your problem verbally, but I'll definitely think your problem and the solution to it. You have a vagina. Do you want your monetary problem solved? Because that's another Matt James book sequel called Mental and Emotional Release. Mental emotional release is real because people get super emotional about a word that I have 650 hashtags for, which is bankruptcy. Monetary mental and emotional release. Original book, mental and emotional release. I added 1 word at the beginning of it, which is mental. Money, mental, emotional release. And you see how these are external APIs, and then you flow with it specifically. So after you sell 1 to 5 copies of the book, after you sell one, text me. Text me if you want me to buy the books for you. Are you going to sell one thing? Feels like you actually might. Feels like you might sell 2 to 5 things to repeat. Matt James Huna book, $18. Becoming Supernatural, $22. 650-283-8008. The next thing that you can sell is going to be amazing, which is why you're so patient as to put pen to paper and take notes on this Larry Chang bonus keynote. Yeah, Morning Wood. Is that a podcast? It's kind of a one-way podcast. Do you need 2 people talking for you to be entertained? Or 2 personalities coming at you 9 ways to 7 ways? Student, athlete, not a student, not an athlete. Student, athlete, non-employee co-founder, not a student, not an athlete, quasi solo founder, quasi co-founder. Grab pen to paper. You're welcome, and thank you so much for connecting with me via this video. You're going to take whatever thing that you have not made $600,000 on yet, and we are going to do it super fast. We're going to cross the chasm from the right. Oh, it's the chapter that Steve Blank left off. I went ahead and updated his cover art. That's artist credit, Larry Chang. Larry Chang. Or artist credit, Chang Bang. When I wrote 4 Steps to the Epiphany over a decade ago, tried 2 decades ago, I had no idea I'd be starting the lean startup revolution. I had no idea, Stephen Blank says. I had no idea. I was struggling to reconcile the reality of my 21 years of experience as an entrepreneur with then common advice about how to start a company. Fast forward 10 years. This is still Stephen Blank talking, not Larry Chang. And this is me reading as a mother-scratching dyslexic, which you almost need to memorize everything in order to reread everything. And dyslexia is a superpower. Why are you reading aloud every word in your head? That's not how you're supposed to read. You're supposed to funnel entire pages of information. Just funnel it. You just open up the book, okay, like the Chinese kid meme, and just be like. Startups of all stripes are using customer development process. Oh, customer development? That's page 40. Oh, is customer discovery page 104? Yeah. Am I cheating? No. Crazy, right? And then page 156, and then page 204. That's company building. Startups of all stripes are using the customer development process I laid out in this book in detailed Startups Owner's Manual 2012. These new ideas have coalesced into what has become today the lean startup movement. The core ideas of 4 steps have spread from startups. How did I meet Steve Blank? This is actually lecture 8P. Putty. 9P. 7P and 9P. There is no 8P. Now there is. I'm with a hottie. Let's call her Jessica because that was her name. We're at a $200 plus fundraiser for the San Francisco Giants. I got 2 tickets for free and I brought her as a first date. Remember, this is before I was doing zero sum dating. I was doing $50 for the first 5 dates. Zero sum dating's hard. Cash flow positive dating's almost impossible for you. For me, it's every night except for Saturday. Yesterday was Saturday. We're at San Francisco Giants Stadium at one of the name iterations of the stadium for baseball that has had multiple sponsors, multiple names. She's getting hit on ginormously by a dude from Los Angeles, of all places. Decides to tell me that he is awesome and that I am nothing. Literally right in front of my girl. Well, my date. And I said to him with an open mind, what makes you so awesome? What makes you so awesome? Where did you learn how to be so awesome? He says specifically, I read 4 Steps to the Epiphany, and I used that book for customer development, customer discovery. And I was like, 4 Steps to the Epiphany? Who wrote it? This guy, Stephen Blank. Hold on a minute. If you can cite specific things, this is what I and Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady, Steve Kerr, this is what we do. You have a positive result, congratulations, you're talking to my hot date, making specific claims about your financial viability. I'm going to do an audit. And that audit came back, oh my God, he's awesome. I mean, not so awesome that you're going to cuckold me, because that's not going to happen. But thank you for the knowledge. What's more important in that situation for this guy? Making sure that my knob gets attended to, or the one-eyed clown gets attention? No, that's chapter 7, bang, let's get ahead. I told them to hold on, and I left both of them and walked to a spot within, at one point named AT&T Park, to get cell reception, and I used my sidekick to go to my friend Jeff's website. What did I do? I bought a $60 book that was paperback, self-published. I'm like, $60 for a 207-page book? I bought that book. Fast shipping. I clicked yes. If I'm going to spend $60, I'm going to upgrade the shipping. I got that book. I read it in a day because I'm a speed reader. So Saturday to Tuesday, read it on Wednesday, charmed the pants off of Steve Blank on Thursday at a VIP dinner. How cool is that? That's when that's when Steve Blank met Larry Chang at a Dave McClure dinner. I was waitlisted. I literally went from waitlist crasher to VIP. I showed up 15 minutes before the event. It was at Garden Court Hotel. I want to say 520 Cowper. I remember this like it was yesterday. I told Dave McClure I won't stay for the dinner. I'm on the wait list. here's my cash ready money. Web 4, Fiat Strikes Back, having cash is how I flank Web 5 people. My specific denominated dinner dollars were at the ready. Will you take my money and move me from the wait list into the regular list? Guacamole recipe number 4, right from the book of Mark McCormack. Dave McClure's like, yeah, but we've got a lot of people on the wait list that are VIPs. I'm like, fine, I'll leave even before the party starts, and I'll definitely leave before dinner because I'm not gonna take a dinner spot if you won't take my money. Guess who rolls up 5 minutes before the event? Steve Blank. And I was like, Professor Blank, Professor Blank, Professor Blank, tongue twister, will you sign my book? I'm waitlisted to come to the event, but I was hoping that you would be on time so that way we could be maybe in a picture, but that you could maybe sign my book. What author rejects youth who is a fan? Looks for a spot to sign from the pages of notes. Looks at my notes, looks at me. Looks at my notes, looks at me. And he's like, is this the Larry Chang who parties 9 days a week, having read a book that I just shipped for $60, $65 paperback? Like what? Like maybe everything that people have been saying about Larry Chang, maybe it's wrong, because I have never met visually a better student who read and used my stuff. That's what he saw. It was a tidal wave of evidence. It was a avalanche of work. It was a orgasm on top of his brain in a sapio pansexual connection, which is how I read a book, which is I want your brain's information into my giant brain. Like a thinking cap of fire hose from your little brain, your little pea brain, into which you spent 10 years with your little pea brain, and I get it into my giant brain by reading a book that takes me about an hour to read. Maybe on the third reading, where I'm trying to memorize your book, maybe I'm into it for an hour and a half now. Is this me talking trash? No, this is not typical Caucasian people, black people, Latin people trash talk. This is Chinese people trash talk. This is Chinese person trash talk. Your IQ 130 brain took 10 years to write 2 great books. I get those 2 books in less than 3 hours. This is how to become like Tom Brady, 270 years old, based on mentors and mentor mentions. Back to the baseball park. I ordered the book and I go back. They're still talking. I was like, hey, I ordered the book. And then he's like, oh, cool. I'm still talking to your girl. I go into state. Chapter 4, Tony Robbins, The Power of State. I go into state, neurolinguistically programming myself. I'm not just gonna fold because I'm losing my date, okay? I'm not just gonna be like, come on, you're coming with me. What do you do in that situation? Remember, she's hot. What would you do if you're single and in your non-prime, maybe prime, maybe more prime than prime? It doesn't matter. What would you do if you were Larry Chang in that situation? Remember, you've already gotten the value because you got the knowledge. And the knowledge, you're going to parlay into a full-blown teaching gig at a school that called you 20 plus times to come to your college, and then recruited you another 28 times later. This is why. What would you do? He, the guy who recommended Steve Blank's book, is still talking to your girl that you comped into the fundraiser. What would you do? I went into state and I decided to make out with 3 women right in front of them. Let me repeat. I went into state and I was going to make out with 3 women hotter than Jessica right in front of them. Would you be able to do that in a room? Would you fold? What happens when your relationship hits a speed bump? Will you fold or will you focus? It didn't matter if I wasn't going to stay with her because I deeply resented her optionality and her vagina chemicals. This is before I became the vagina whisperer, because it was traumatic, and I don't want to have to do. I sullied myself. This is what I did. I go, hey, you're super cute, to one of the girls I was gonna make out with. You're super cute, and you could be doing me a huge favor. Do you see that girl? That's the girl I came with, and she's talking to a multimillionaire from Los Angeles who's talking to me about Steve Blank's book. I went ahead and bought that book, but I've lost my date. Game on. After that pitch, she was like, not only will I make out with you, I will get 2 of my hottest friends to also make out with you, because your emotional vulnerability, mental emotional release, you're supernatural, you're super resourceful, unlimited power, chapter 4. You're super resourceful and you're super fun. And if she won't go home with you, can I be next on the wait list? Having that emotional fortitude makes you supernatural. My movie, chapter 8. I sold her into my movie like Dave Chappelle. Like, you might be Dave Chappelle, but you're in the Tom Brady dog movie as a co-star. She gets her hot friends to listen to my plight, P-L-I-G-H-T. It's like a problem, it's like a speed bump, it's like a difficulty. And he's like, isn't he so cool? And don't you feel bad for him? And isn't this the most fun fundraiser that we've ever been to? I make out with the hottest women because of Steph. If Steph doesn't help me, she realized that somebody else would help me. This is how VCs invest. They don't invest because they think you're great. They invest because they don't want another VC to get you. After I make out these girls, Jessica comes running over. The entire place explodes in laughter because they're now all in on it. That's how to work a room, and that's how to win Chapter 11, Failing Forward.